My name is Margo, and for today, I would like to share with you 5 books, okay, commemorating Philippine cinema. So, Philippine cinema in the Philippines. Can anyone guess how long cinema or the movies or the films have been in the Philippines? Any guesses? 50 years? 60? 80? 100? Anyone? Actually, it has been 124 years. So from 1897, can you imagine that the first movie theater, well, technically movie room, started in 1897 in the 19th century, and we were still under the Spanish colonial government at the time. And then when the Americans came, they colonized us in 1900, 1901. That's wherein, American influences also came into the picture. Until now, we can see a lot of American culture embedded in our movies. Then in the 1940s, early 1940s, because of the Japanese occupation and because of their Asia First policy, all vestige of foreign influences they tried to remove. Right? So we'll take a look at what particular book is the best resource during that time. And then finally we come into the 21st century Philippine industry or Philippine movies. Where are we at, and which book I would highly recommend for you to have in your collection. Right? So for the first one, it's by Nick D. Ocampo. Actually, the first 3 books that I would like to share with you is by Nick D. Ocampo, written by Nick D. Ocampo. He's the foremost historian for about films, movies, Philippine theater, plays, cenaculo, anything to do with the arts, in terms of visual arts. So Nick D. Ocampo. First book is Cine, Spanish Influences on Early Cinema in the Philippines. So just a teaser, what was one of the influences of the Spaniards? Well, definitely it's all about the language. So in 1897, when we were still under the Spanish rule, there was no such thing as a national language. The only national language that we know of was Spanish. Not everyone, I would say not everyone were well versed in Spanish. We all think that we were, but maybe not, okay? It was a common language. A lot of Filipinos at the time, or the natives or the locals, could understand Spanish. Maybe we could speak it in broken in Spanish. So that's one thing that tied us together from mula apari hanggang hulo. So in the announcements for the short films, very short films that were being shown, whether using Edison's Vitaphone or the Lumiere brothers film equipment, all of the announcements were in Spanish. Right? So there are posters, so examples of posters here that were still, having Spanish, using the Spanish language. Definitely, no? Right? There. Even the vaudeville style that we have in our early movies can be traced to Spanish influence. Okay. So, examples. So, very nice resource. This is the first book by Nick D. Ocampo. Second book, after the Spaniards came the Americans. So definitely a big factor were the American culture. So his second book, Film, American Influences on Philippine Cinema. Right. So this is where now we can see more movies that incorporated the English language. Maybe not purely in English, but some characters would start speaking in English, during the talkies period. More romances, more PDAs or public display of affections were shown. Even the way behavior or attitude in movies, no, especially during the post-war movies, late 40s to and then the 1950s and 60s. You can see the incorporation of the James Dean of the Philippines, college life, and even in the attire or outfit, no, a lot of influences of the Americans in our cinema. Okay? Definitely, no? Because of it. Okay? So this is the second. The third book, this one was I'm kind of very happy to have this book, because I didn't realize that even during the Japanese occupation from 1942 until 1945, there were, or the industry, the movie industry in the Philippines was still, still continuous. So under the occupation of the Japanese forces, the movie industry, the Philippine movie industry, were still filming, we're still producing, making movies. But of course, propaganda-wise, no? It was controlled by the Japanese, but you know how Filipinos are. They're very smart, and they know all the tricks and trades. There are instances wherein they're able, no, to have subliminal messages embedded or incorporated in their movies, no, in terms of resistance to the Japanese. So the third book is Iyaga. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Iyaga, Cinema in the Philippines During World War II. So you might wonder, what is Iyaga? Iyaga, so I also was intrigued by this word. So when I was reading the foreword or the introduction, Iyaga was the special Japanese department that handled propaganda, that handled the cinema, no, production. So they were like the central movie making body of the Japanese. So any movies that were made, that were shown, has to pass through Iyaga. So that's why Nick Joaquin named it Iyaga. Okay. Just imagine. So for those who are students, no, of Philippine history, or particularly Philippine arts and Philippine cinema, you need to have this in your collection. So the three books by Nick D. Ocampo, I was able to buy them. Well, the first one is actually my brother's. I borrowed it, but all three can be bought through Anvil Publishing and also National Bookstore. I would suggest online, because it's more available online rather than at the physical bookstores. I tried to look for them in the physical bookstores, but I couldn't find them. And then I tried the Anvil online. They have a website, and that's where I bought the Iyaga and the film, no? The American influences in Philippine cinema. The fourth one, I bought this directly from the Facebook page of architect Gerald Lico. I think it's called Docu-Lico, Documentary Lico. So he's an architect, and he also has came out with a lot of architecture books, no, about the Philippines. So his book is, it's a play of words. So it could be Palabas, Architecture, Cinema, Projection of Philippine Space and Film, or it can also be Panglabas. Okay. So this one tackles the background, the film drops, the architecture of the movie theaters. An example of which, here in Cebu, we have one of the oldest movie theaters still in existence. But unfortunately, it's no longer a movie theater now. It's more of being rented out as an apartment building, and then the ground floor became a shipping store in the various stores selling DVDs, pirated DVDs. So I'm talking about Vision Theater in Colon Street in downtown Cebu. So it was built in the 1930s by architect Agustin Hereza. And at one time, Vision Theater was actually owned by the Gokongways, the father of John Gokongway. Okay. It ceased, I think it ceased in the late 70s or maybe 80s. becoming a movie theater. But it was included because of the facade. You know, I haven't really. It's one thing, you know, when I go to downtown, when I look at the Vision Theater, the Greco-Roman style of architecture, it's fascinating. You know, who could imagine that downtown Cebu would have an architectural gem like Vision Theater? So that's actually the topic of Jared Lico's Panglabas or Palabas. Okay, so talks about movie theaters, the physical theaters themselves, like this, or he also focuses on movie scenes. Very nice book. The last one, this was authored by Gaspar Vibal, so definitely it came from Vibal Publishing, again online bookstore, and by Dennis S. Villegas. So may he rest in peace. Professor Villegas just passed away I think in March. So very unfortunate, but I'm also very glad that we could celebrate his landmark book. Okay, so Philippine cinema, 1897 to 2020. Right. So this is the book, no, by Gaspar and Villegas. It comes, this is the soft bound version, so it's a little affordable, and then there's also the hard bound version of it, no? Okay, so let me just show you a sneak peek of what it looks like. So it encompasses all 123 years at this time when they wrote it, no? It was a celebration of cinema. So more on filmmaking. So nice visuals. This is what I like about Vibal, no? The visuals that they include in their books, right? Alright, okay, sorry, I forgot. It's not 5 actually. It's not 5 books. So I keep on saying 5 books that I have in my collection for Philippine movies or Philippine cinema history. It's actually 6 books. Alright. There's 6 books that I would recommend. I forgot. The other one, the last one, is also by Vibal Publishing. Philippine Cinematic Art. Okay. So this is by Andrea L. Peterson, Gaspar A. Vibal, Christopher Datol, and Nicanor Lahome. So, someone said that cinema is the art of the 20th century. Okay. So, let's take a look. Also, I bought this again from Vibal Publishing online. So, this is what it looks like. Okay. Deconstructing the Nation. Oh. Okay. So, 6 books. So that was 6 books that I'd like to share with everyone. So for movie enthusiasts, students of film, you know, those who are interested learning about Philippine cinema. So these are your 101, cinema 101 books, no, about our industry or the history of cinema in the Philippines. All right. So thanks again, everyone, for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, to like the video, and if you have any additional suggestions in regards to books about Philippine cinema, please do kindly write them down in the comment section. I hope you enjoy this. Highly recommended that you have these books in your Filipiniana book collection or in your cinema book collection. So this is Margo. Right, from youtube.com/Margo Kamaya channel. I'll see you in the next episode. I'll see you soon. Take care. Stay safe. Enjoy life. Bye.